Do you want to record electric guitar like the pros? Follow these guidelines and you'll get the best tone possible. I recommend watching this video front to back so you don't miss any crucial steps. The more of these things you do, the better your end result will be. First section of this video is setting up. You'll want to isolate your amplifier and keep it away from the walls, especially for open back cabinets. Keep it off the ground if possible by using either an amp stand or a soft surface that you put it on. This will minimize excessive vibrations within the room and within the amp. Set your microphone gains so that they go halfway or about 2/3 of the way towards the peak. I would say have at least 6 decibels of headroom. If it touches the edge or the top and bottoms, it will clip and sound distorted and you can't undo that. If you have too much headroom, it will have a high noise floor. Next, we want to audition the speakers. Put a microphone directly in front of each speaker and record a short snippet of a song. You might be surprised how different the speakers sound even within the same amp. I'm going to test this real quick with my Vox AC30, which has 2 Alnico Blue speakers. Let's see which one you guys think sounds better. I typically use a ribbon mic right in front of the speaker and right in the center. It was a kind of close call. I'm going to go with the left speaker as being my favorite because it sounds a little more natural to me. Use 2 to 3 microphones when recording and experiment with different placements and angles for the mics. This is the most important factor in getting a good tone. You can use 2 close mics. One close and one far away. Or even one in the front and one in the back of the amp. My go-to setup is a ribbon microphone and a large diaphragm condenser microphone, both in front of the amp. The ribbon mic I keep front and center. The large diaphragm condenser I keep off to the side and about at a 45-degree angle. And blend the mics to your liking. In the examples, I favored the ribbon mic by about 5 decibels over the condenser. Check the phase of your mics, especially if they're placed far apart. You might need to physically drag the wave file of the further away microphone. Just so you know what it sounds like, let's hear 2 microphones out of phase with each other. Isolate your guitar pedals for the cleanest sound. If using no pedals, plug straight into the amp. You don't want to be running through a bunch of inactive pedals. If using only one pedal, I would suggest removing it from your pedal board and plugging into only that one. Because if you're running into a bunch of pedals that aren't being used, it will only muddy up your signal chain. And if you're paying to record in the studio, I would isolate your pedals before the session so you don't waste time in the studio on Velcroing and whatnot. Record a dry DI signal in addition to plugging into your amp and miking that. This gives you a free track in case you need to reamp, or if you record a tone that you don't like and you are unable to record again, this gives you a free track. And whenever possible, turn the amp up loud. It's pretty widely agreed upon that tube amps, they sound better when they're turned up loud compared to quiet. Alright, the next part we're talking about here is tracking your music. I suggest positioning your guitar physically to minimize noise. Lights and other electronic devices can cause electromagnetic interference, so there's usually a directional sweet spot, and I'll show you what I mean right now. Next, always check your tuning in between takes. You don't want to have your favorite take and then you realize later listening back that it was out of tune and you have to redo it. Always tune. Carefully dial in your tone for your specific song or part until you're happy with the way that it sounds. Do this by playing your actual guitar parts for the song. The more of this you do now, dialing in your tone, the less will have to be done when it comes time to mix the song. Test out different picks when you're laying down a track. Sometimes the thinner ones, from my experience, have a more percussive sound, especially on acoustic guitar, but we're just talking about electric. I'm going to play the same riff with a thick, a medium, and a light pick. See if you can hear a difference. I suggest adding time-based effects like delays, reverbs, tremolo, etc. after you've tracked, as well as modulation effects like phaser, flanger, chorus, etc. Most recording programs have a plethora of these types of effects, and they're more customizable than most pedals. And the last part we're going to talk about is overdubs and mixing. I'm not trying to share an entire tutorial on how to mix because that would take too long, but this is just certain things to think about when you're doing overdubs. When tracking overdubs, change your tone a little bit, especially if you're doing a left and right guitar, like a rock song. You can use different guitars, use different amps, add a pedal that you didn't have before, or something to change the sound so that the left and right guitars sound separated. You don't want them to sound like the exact same thing, because that kind of defeats the purpose of having this stereo field. This also helps with the mixing stage because you won't have to wrestle with them as much when you're mixing. They should have a little bit different EQs based on the different guitar or amp or whatever you're using. Another trick is if you're using stereo guitars, try favoring one mic on the left side and the other mic on the right side. Or you could even use only one mic on one side and only the other one on the other side. These will naturally have different EQs, and it will help with the separation. Apply EQ to your guitar tracks when mixing. The biggest thing to remember here is you want to scoop out a lot of the extreme lows. Sometimes the mic stands can capture lows, especially I notice it with my ribbon mic. There's more low end than I would like, so you just scoop that out. You want to cut a certain amount of low end to leave room for the bass and the kick drum. When mixing a clean guitar, try some gentle or even moderate compression, as it helps to even out the volume, and it also can give it more attack to your tone. Think of some clean Red Hot Chili Peppers guitar riffs. This is what I'm talking about with the more attack with the compression. Distorted guitars are naturally compressed, but clean guitars, if you look at the wave file, it might be all over the place depending how loud or how soft you play certain notes. So the gentle compression or even moderate compression can be a good thing to help it sit in the mix. I'm going to show you a clean guitar riff without compression, followed by the same riff with compression. And one more trick, which is taken from Eddie Van Halen. If you're playing just one guitar track, you can pan it more to one side and then pan the reverb to the other side. This helps fill out the stereo field, and not everything needs to be double tracked. As Van Halen has shown, he has one of the best guitar tones, in my opinion, ever. And it's one guitar. So don't always feel like you need to have stereo guitars like AC/DC, as good as they are as well. A mixing engineer once told me, there's no wide without close. There's no loud without soft. Just keep it in mind. You don't have to double track and you don't have to single track. Experiment based on the song. So there is your crash course in recording electric guitar, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.